for me, the first red flag was that I flew in to the airport. I contacted him, telling him that I made it to the airport. I was on my way. I had to get an Uber Black from the airport to the hotel because he didn't come and get me. I let him make it on that. But I thought that by the time I got to the hotel, him knowing that I'm in Cali, I'm at the hotel, he would be out front of the hotel waiting on me. He wasn't. So I'm sitting in the lobby for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Hey, young world. Happy Wednesday. Today is going to kick off episode 7 of Girl Talk. Woke up this morning. I've been up since about, I want to say 4:45. I did a brief little workout. I did some verification validations for YouTube, and now I'm getting me a cup of coffee, which is actually my second cup of coffee. So we'll have clips of some of the little movements that I did for my workout. It wasn't much, trust me, because I'm doing it from home. And then we'll get into Girl Talk, and that's going to be about abandonment. I mentioned on a previous vlog of how my ex abandoned me in a different state, so I'm going to share that today. And then I don't know what the rest of the day may bring. It's supposed to rain outside, and I really want to tackle my front yard, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. But I may spend some time on my back porch and all that good stuff. So let's see how today is gonna go. I have some meetings coming up today, and actually I have meetings all day today. So when the Girl Talks point start, if I look tired, baby, trust me, it's because I've been dealing with people all day. But we're gonna get this conversation going. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. Hey, young world. So I'm relaxing outside. I just finished eating this amazing avocado salad with bell peppers and romaine lettuce and tomatoes. It was excellent. And then I made me some doggone, like a little quesadilla to go with it. Um, it was amazing. It's about 12:11, and I'm in between meetings, so I just thought I'd jump on with you guys. I figured I'd face this way to see if my neighbors are spying on me again, because you know how they like to peek out their windows. I want them to see my face. Anyway, we were going to talk about abandonment, and um, I was sitting trying to process how I wanted to start this conversation, only because I've never struggled with the feeling of abandonment. But since I was a single mom, I saw how abandonment affected both of my daughters when it came to their fathers. Um, I want to say that my oldest daughter, and I don't want to speak for her, but I kind of feel like she truly couldn't understand, as her father's first child, um, why they didn't have a relationship. So she struggled with that a lot. Eventually, she built a relationship with her father. And y'all, please keep in mind, I mentioned before, my oldest daughter, father was my high school sweetheart. And please keep in mind that him not seeing him not having a relationship with my daughter had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with him. Because my mother honestly wanted to ensure that line of communication was open. Um, and then with my youngest daughter, um, I was married to her father, but you know, I divorced him for a number of reasons. And I think the difficult part about for her, was that um, he couldn't keep his promises. Like, he would tell her that he was going to do things, and then he would just never follow through. And that really bothered them. So, from that perspective, I kind of understand what people are going through when it comes to the abandonment and what it feels and looks like. So, my ex-husband, um, he suffered with abandonment a lot. And I think ultimately, when him and I started dating, because he told me the stories about, what he felt abandonment was when it came to his parents and some of the relationships, ultimately, I just wanted to prove that all women weren't like that. Um, which it wasn't my responsibility to show him that, the variations of women and how women should act. I don't think that was my responsibility, because as I continued in the relationship, I can honestly understand why women just didn't want to fuck with him if they did abandon him. I can't speak for his parents. I don't know what decisions his parents made. I'm speaking of women just in general, because if other women went through what I went through with him, oh, I totally get it. Um, but for me, if you have gone through an abandonment situation and you've struggled with that, I don't care what level of abandonment it was, I would think that um, you would never abandon your wife in a different city, right? I would think that wouldn't happen. And I'm sorry, you guys, my little nose is trying to run. It's kind of cool out here. So probably shouldn't have did that, but I'm just trying to make sure Ain't got stuff running out my nose. Um, anyway, you would think that he wouldn't have abandoned his wife in a different city. So the story is that um, his mother chapter of his club was having their annual event. And you guys know that I work a regular job. So when they got on the road, I wasn't able to leave when they got on the road. So I actually flew into the annual event. They were probably there a couple of days before I had gotten there. But I know other wives were there. So I actually flew in on a Saturday and was planning to do a turnaround that Sunday so I could be back at work on Monday because I had meetings and everything else going on at work. And so we went down to I flew in, and for me, the first red flag was that I flew in to the airport. I contacted him, telling him that I made it to the airport. I was on my way. I had to get an Uber Black from the airport to the hotel because he didn't come and get me. I let him make it on that. But I thought that by the time I got to the hotel, him knowing that I'm in Cali, I'm at the hotel, he would be out front of the hotel waiting on me. He wasn't. So I'm sitting in the lobby for maybe 10 to 15 minutes waiting for him to come to the front of the lobby to greet me. And his rationale for not being where he should have been was that he was at the hotel next door trying to get some money out of their post machine or whatever. I just kind of looked at him and was like, okay. So I have on like a maxi skirt, a black maxi skirt with fringes and a Harley Davidson white tank top. And we're walking through the hallway and he runs into one of his brothers from same club, different chapter. And he was like, oh, this is my wife, Miss Jules. And the guy looked at me, he was like, you know you an angel, right? And I was like, yeah, I know that. People always tell me that. I think it's just the glow. I don't know. But so anyway, I greeted him, said hello, and I went on about my business. We went on, he took me to the hotel room. I changed clothes into something a little bit pants, so I could get on back of the bike and we can go riding around and stuff, go to the beach and all that kind of good stuff. So we did that and we ate, and then later on that afternoon it was time for everyone to mount up and actually go to the festivities for that day. Since the wives were there, they made the decision that they were not going to go to the night party, that they only wanted to go to the day party, right? So if you guys go back into some of my footage, you'll see videos of that day party in Cali. So we didn't go to the night party. So the next morning, fast forward, the next morning, we wake up. I look at my phone. I'm trying to check in to Delta so I can get ready to head out. Me and one of the wives was going to ride back to Austin together, same flight, everything. When I looked at my phone, my flight had been canceled. Not canceled, had been moved, right? So I reached out to her and I asked her if her flight had been moved, and her flight had been moved too. The guys were still in California, still at a hotel. They hadn't mounted up to go anywhere yet. So me and the other wife was making sure we were still on the same flight, right? Well, when they changed flights, they changed her to where she wasn't not going to be leaving until Monday. Totally different flight. I was going to be leaving that Sunday later that night. Totally different flight. So he knows all of this. He's fully aware that the plane has done some crazy shit, right? So um, come to find out, this was the weekend where Delta Airlines um, pilots was on strike. They decided that they just weren't going to fly because they felt like they were overworked. So since they felt that way, they pushed every plane back, right? Um, so me thinking I'm still going to get on the plane that same day, and him thinking I was still going to get on the plane that same day, he leaves California with his friends, with his bike club. So I look at my phone again, and they pushed the flight again. So now I'm pushed to late Monday, and I contact them, and they couldn't have been gone a good 2 hours. I contact them, no response. Contact him again, no response. The other wife is trying to contact her husband, no response. And finally, we had already checked out the hotel room, right? We had nowhere, no room to stay in at this time. Um, we're we're moving around, trying to figure out, because I packed a carry-on, she packed luggage because she was there for a few days, so she had quite a bit of luggage. In my mind, I'm just that person. I'm not gonna leave nobody. But when my husband got in touch with me, I told him, I said, the flight was pushed again. Where are you guys? Come back. Can you come back and get us? The reason why I didn't see a problem for him coming back to get me was because, one, we've ridden all over the place with luggage on the back of his bike, like everywhere. I'm talking packed down, because your girl have to have a couple of pair of shoes, outfits, and he has always told me when I'm riding backpack with him, bring whatever I wanted to bring. So I want backpack, but that's how I knew that my carry-on could get on the back of his bike. For my friend girl, I was thinking if they would come back, we could go ahead and ship her luggage, and she could hop on the back of her husband's bike. So when I'm talking to my husband, he's he calls out to my friend girls and say, man, they still in California talking about that they not gonna do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, dude, I'm talking to you. I'm telling you, if y'all ain't too far, you just a couple of hours out, come back and get me. I have to go to work tomorrow. Because I know you can make that ride. I've seen this man ride for years. I've ridden with him for years. So, nevertheless, he didn't come get us. They didn't come get us. They didn't come back and get us. So when I realized that they weren't coming back to get us, and my friend girl was kind of in a funk because she was like, well, what's going to happen now? We got to get another room. I was like, well, I'm not staying in California. I'm absolutely not going to stay in California. Delta can have that money. I'm going to cancel my flight. And I'm about to get me a rental car, and I'm taking my ass back to Texas. So I told her, I'll say, I would not leave you behind. Come on and go along with me. I can get us back to Texas. We'll be back to Texas by Monday morning so we can report in to work. So she says, okay, so we're calling all these rental car companies, and the only rental car company that would let me take a car out of California
was my God, what's the name of that rental car company? Definitely one enterprise. Avis. Avis was the only company that would allow us to take a car across state lines. So I got us a rental car. We put our stuff in the back of the car, and I'm driving. I'm not having no more conversations with my husband because you've already told me you've made it quite clear you weren't coming back to get me. So I'm not trying to hear what you got to say, right? So I'm driving, and he keep calling. Where you at? Please don't try to drive straight through. Where you at? We gonna end up stopping in this town in New Mexico at this hotel. Please don't try to drive straight through. Come to the hotel when y'all get here. And my friend girl was like, Jules, let's just stop at the hotel. Let's just stop there and this, that, and other. So he sends me, I tell him, okay, we going to stop. We should be there around 11 o'clock p.m., right? Right before midnight. We should be there by around 11 o'clock p.m. Because I'm flooring it. I'm moving, right? So we get there. I go knock on his door and literally I'm banging. I'm getting the front reception people to call him. This man didn't budge and ring, didn't open the door, didn't do nothing. So I ended up having to get a hotel room anyway. Me and my friend girl shared a hotel room. She went ahead and paid for it since I paid for the rental car. So the next morning, I don't know, maybe 4 something in the morning, 5 something in the morning, I get a text from him and he was like, where are you at? And I didn't respond. I didn't have nothing to say to him, right? But my girlfriend, my friend girl, responded to her husband. So she was like, Miss Jewel, and I was already up. I was just laying in bed, just listening to the phone go ding, ding, ding. She say, they finna roll out. You want to go ahead and go and we can just follow them home? I was like, yeah, if that's what you want to do. Well, by the time we get downstairs in the hotel room, from the hotel room, they gone again, right? So I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, I promise you I can get us back to Texas. I'll get us home. So we're sitting at the red light coming out of New Mexico, and all I hear is like these. It seems like a doggone like rumbling coming up behind us. So I look in the rear view, and it's them. And I was like, I'm not gonna even finna let them know who it is in this car. We're just gonna ride and keep going. So we riding, and they were moving. They had to be going 95 miles an hour. So I went ahead and got out their way once we was on the highway and let them pass, right? or and let them pass. So we riding down the road and we just going, and we could see them in our eyesight, but they were booking it on them bikes. And we see one of the bikes, which was her husband, just kind of like fly to the right. Like they went in the left lane, and we just see him cross over lanes to try to get to an exit. And in my mind, I'm thinking, damn, he must have really had to go to the potty. So we just kept going. And then I get a call from my husband talking about where y'all at. And I say, well, we were right behind y'all. When? I say, when we saw so and so pull off to that exit. And he was like, well, his engine just blew on his bike. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, his engine just blew on his bike. So his wife, because I was going to keep going, honey, because at this point I'm like fed up with the whole situation. His wife, and me being the person that I am, because I am kind-hearted, she wanted to go back and check on him. We made a U-turn. We were like maybe 15 minutes away by this time. Made a U-turn, went back. Engine blew on his bike. They trying to call someone so his bike can be taken to the nearest um, Harley Davidson dealership. So we sitting there, and they was like, the club now makes a decision. Well, since they here, the ones who bikes are good to go, we'll just keep forging forward. This individual can ride with the women now, right? And so when he came, he was like, well, it's all right that I just rode with y'all. And just I was like, well, yeah, I mean, your bike got to go to the shop. It ain't no other way you gonna get there. We stay back with you to make sure your bike is where it's supposed to be, and then we can all get on the road. In this moment, you guys, I started thinking, I said it couldn't have been nothing but God, to be honest with you, because two women, no weapons, on the road from California to Texas might have not been the brightest idea, but me with my personality and my stubbornness, I don't think there's too much that will put fear in my heart. There's just not too much that does that. So we I think we was in New Mexico for maybe 2.5 hours. And when I tell you, the husband of my friend girl said, well, I'll drive. He was the biggest person. It made so much sense because he's tall, he's big. Me with my little petite self, crawled in the back seat, tried to get my mind under control. She rode in the front seat. Next thing I know, we had caught up to them. This man was pushing this car so fast. We had caught up to them, stopped at the restaurant where they were eating at, and made it back to Texas before they did. So ultimately, the whole story behind this, because I shared all of this with my family and when it happened, because my mind was just like, if the roles were reversed, I would have told my club, yo, my wife is stranded in California. She's the one working in this relationship, all this kind of stuff. I need to go back and make sure she gets home okay. If the roles were reversed, that's what I would have done. Because my wife coming before any club. But I'm telling you guys, on everything I love, when men get into these bike clubs, that's not always the case. These men, and I want to use the right words because I don't want to disrespect nobody in the bike community, but these men, when it comes to their club brothers, you best to believe that you are not a priority. And if you were, you're not a priority anymore. So definitely were some red flags there for me. Definitely was pissed off thinking that I had to get myself back to Texas by myself and I had a whole husband. But that situation still was not the situation that broke the camel's back. The situation that broke the camel's back was shared on previous blogs when I ended up going to therapy because I no longer felt safe in the relationship. So when it comes to abandonment, I period point blank think that if someone has struggled with abandonment all of their lives and want to be in a relationship, one would think that that individual would not be the person to abandon anyone they love in any kind of way. You would think that. because you, in my mind, I'm thinking that you want to do things better. You want to be a change. You know what I'm saying? You didn't like it, so why put it off on somebody else? That's the point that I'm trying to make. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share. Um, I'm going to sit out here for a little bit longer and continue to work. I probably won't be off work until about 3 o'clock today. Definitely don't plan on doing anything else. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's all that was on my mind. So I will talk to you guys next time.